Okay, what's up, cyberspace? Welcome to Pointing Out Politicians. My name is Sherman. Cynthia A. Johnson, once again. I was going to move on from this, but there's something I have to show you. I have to get this out there. There's another video from social media, and I wanted to point out what she's talking about in this video. But actually, before I get there, I'm going to play the video, and I want to draw your attention to something. Well, first, I want to see if you can find it. If you can see what I see in regards to this video, there's something very significant that happens in this video. If you're paying attention, if you notice it, it is key. It is the key to everything that is being said in the video. Pay close attention. If you figure it out, let me know in the comments section. I'd be interested to see who else catches on to this. But I'm going to play that video. Then afterwards, I'm going to break that video down, give you my thoughts on that, on the issues that she's bringing up, and kind of illustrate the thinking behind that and where I believe the flaws are. But pay close attention to this video and tell me if you notice one very, very important thing that does or does not happen. Here we go.
Let me stop and say that our children are all children. Even those children who came with parents who were from other lands, came on different boats, came on different planes, maybe came in on freight trains. They brought their children. Those parents are people. Think about this. Think about somebody separating you from your baby. Think about you trying to save your baby from unmeasurable crimes. Think about you trying to save your child, the person you love so much, and then the very government that you tried to find refuge grab your baby from you and displace your baby, and still 3 years later not admitting the atrocity that the United States of America, by way of Donald Trump, has committed on humanity. And then I think about our babies in the city of Detroit, Michigan. Many of our babies have been lost in the system of COVID-19. There's been no report on how many children are in the system, how many on a daily basis. I want a daily report card on how many children attended school in person, and I want a daily report on how many of our children attended online. Our children are missing, and we are covert in this.
Okay, so that was Cynthia A. Johnson. She was, if you remember, she's the one who disrupted the Senate hearings in Michigan, We're trying to discover more information about possible ballot interference, possible fraudulent activities. But did you notice what did or did not take place in the video? Her voice changed. Her facial expression changed. The strain was there. The emotion was there. Everything. The pain in her voice. What's the one thing that was missing? Tears. She cried with everything but her eyes. Not even a crocodile tear. The whole thing is fake. The whole thing is disingenuous, right? But it goes a lot deeper than that. Let's talk about what she said. Let's address it. So I'm gonna touch on some of the main points piece by piece. So maybe you can see how I think as far as how ridiculous this is. Maybe you'll agree with that. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll think of some other things. If you do, let me know that as well. But point number one, she says they brought their children. Okay, so let's think about that for a second. They brought their children. If you're going somewhere and the journey's tough, she said, in trains and probably in the back of trucks, and you got coyotes trying to run people across the border. It can be a really, really tough journey. Why would you subject your children to that? Why would you risk their lives that way? So her justification is that she's trying to find them something better. So you're willing to put their life on the line to get them away from the second point, these immeasurable crimes that she brings up. Immeasurable crimes. What crimes in specifically are we talking about here? And who are those crimes committed by? Because if you say there's rapists and murderers and other violent people, then that means you would agree with Donald Trump that these people do exist and these crimes are taking place. But if not, that's not the case, then who are you talking about? How horrible is Mexico? I really like to quantify that, because if it's as bad as this woman describes it as being, maybe we should be at war with Mexico and not Afghanistan, or not in Afghanistan, not fighting in Syria, maybe because Mexico's right next door, right? And it's such a horrible place. There's such violent people and just so much terrible things going on in Mexico. Maybe in the interest of saving lives, thousands and thousands of lives, we should be at war with Mexico. Maybe. If it's that horrible, maybe that's what we should do. She mentioned that the country that these people are trying to get to save them, to find refuge, they take their baby. Let's dive into that a little bit more. Take your baby. So first of all, it seems as if she's making it seem like the United States is taking the active role, the aggressive role. Like maybe we're crossing some line or some border and taking children. As far as I know, the only way that this can happen is if children are separated at the border from their parents. One, because in a lot of cases it would make sense to put them in the same place. But at that point, the parent has committed a crime. In the United States, I see this all the time. People commit crimes, they go to jail. What they don't do is put the kids in the jail with them. Right? They separate the children from the parents. This happens daily in this country. The only way around that would be to confine the children in a jail with the parents, or allow the parents to go free because they have children. I'd like to know which one of those she's recommending. I'd like to know which one of those people who advocate for this or complain about this or have a problem with this. What do they want to happen? What do you want to happen at the border? Do you want them to just let them go on in? I tell you what, one way that we could avoid all of this, because she mentions that atrocities and Donald Trump. For one, the atrocities that are happening at the border, I'm not sure what she's talking about. I think people are pretty well taken care of, but maybe she knows something I don't. She knows she was Michigan Senate, all that good stuff. Maybe she's aware of some brutality that's happening at the border that I'm not aware of. And then she blames Donald Trump when this started happening, cages and whatnot, under Obama's administration, I believe it was. But that's a different topic for a different video. The point I'm getting at is to avoid all this and to avoid that responsibility, to avoid even having to get wrapped up into it, what you could do is avoid taking custody. And what I mean by that is once you take custody, you take on a problem. And the only way to avoid taking custody and actually having to pick somebody up and put them in jail and separate the kids from the parents, and go through all of that stuff, is for them not to be able to break that law in the first place. Have a preventative measure in place, like a wall. Wall would be great. Something that, just imagine if somebody wanted to, and I'm not calling people robbers and thieves and things of that nature. I'm just using this as an example of a crime and responsibility. Say there was someone who wanted to rob you, right? And you got a door, a fence, a gate around your yard. Hopefully that would keep them out, right? But say you didn't have that gate, and the rule of thumb was that once they come onto your property, once they break that law, once they violate you, you can't just kick them out. If they're hungry, you got to feed them. You got to clothe them. They have to have a place to stay until the law, until there's a court or trial or whatnot, and they decide if they're going to send them back to where they came from, outside of your yard, right? That's a cumbersome process, and it's a lot of extra weight that could simply be avoided by just putting up a barrier so that they can't come into your yard and then subsequently become your responsibility. So what you have is an argument that starts after. It goes past the root cause. It starts later on in the process. If you really want to rectify that, if you really want to resolve it, if you really want to address it, then search for, root out the root cause. Search for the root cause and address that root cause. You don't have to deal with an immigrant if the immigrant's not in your country in the first place. And whatever happens on the other side of that wall, that's on them. If you got warning signs and there's no water for X amount of miles, there's no this, there's no that, and you decide to go walking across that desert or dragging your child across that, you are responsible for that. You're the horrible parent that did that to your child. Granted, I don't want to see that happen. I wouldn't take pleasure in that at all. But we got to start trying to put some type of responsibility where it's supposed to be. Instead of having politicians like this one fake crying on social media, fake crying with a bunch of misinformation and disinformation, and then trying to compare it as if it's the same thing. That's troubling. The part about the daily reports, she wants daily reports. I don't know what to say about that. I'm just going to leave that alone. But the very last thing, the last thing she says before she stops the camera, she says, and we are covert. That hurts. That's painful. Because obviously she doesn't know what covert means. Maybe she was talking about culpable, or like in a position where we deserve blame. But covert, it just didn't fit the sentence. I don't know what she was trying to do there. But on a serious note, because I want to try to be serious here. These are people that are being elected to office and affecting our country on a national level. And then you take a look at that video and then think about the mindset. And not to try to bash or stomp her into the ground and everything, but intelligence. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm not a psychologist. Maybe it's not an intelligence thing. Maybe it's just an inability to communicate effectively. But we got to do better. We can do better. And in order for that to happen, we need more people to start paying attention to what's going on in the political world. Step up, voice our opinions, and and in some cases, when this is an alternative, maybe we need some more people to run for office or something. But on any note, thanks for stopping in. If you like the content, like the direction, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you liked it, make sure you like it. If you think somebody else would enjoy it, make sure you share it. And definitely want to know what you think. Let me know your comments in the comment section below. On that note, take care and peace.